Hello, my fellow public servants. Today is a meeting, not a meeting. Today's a video about, this one is about the EEO process overall. There's going to be a series of these videos. There's going to be EEO overall, the initial EEO session, mediation sessions. So keep your eyes peeled if this is a topic that interests you. There'll be a few other different videos for you to check out. But as far as the topic today, EEO overall, so how it starts off, you maybe get a poor reasonable accommodation decision is one main example. That's why I'm making these videos. Perhaps you get a decision that doesn't offer you effective accommodations, or for some other reason just isn't in accordance with law or policy. So we recommend, we have other guidance out there that gives you the phone number and an email address for you to call, for you to email. So reach out to Office of Resolution Management, ORM, through that call or email. That's the first step. The second is a little waiting, not usually too long, about a week or so, and they'll set up an initial meeting with an ORM counselor. And that is not the big moment, so to speak. That initial meeting, the counselor will go over the process with you, sort of like I'm doing now, but they have other things that they're telling you specific to the process, what to expect. They ask you certain things. They're going to want you to do a little homework, put together a timeline. They're going to ask you about representation. That'd be a good time. If you want to have representation, you can let them know. They'll ask you about things like alternate dispute resolution, which is a mediation session. That is the moment that people a lot of times think of, right, when they're talking with the management official and things, is that mediation session. And we'll have another video to talk about that if you want more details. Let's see. They'll also ask you if you want to be anonymous. So these are the things that happen at your initial meeting. And then after that, it's another kind of waiting game. We generally recommend people do the mediation, so the alternate dispute resolution, ADR. That takes some time to set up and coordinate. Then you have that mediation session, after which hopefully it'll result in settlement, right? Some sort of agreement that you can come to. That's ideal. That's what we're hoping for. If not, then you will get what's called a notice of right to file, along with a form 4939. That's one of the more important forms you'll get, because you only have 15 days to respond to that. And that 15 days is pretty tight, meaning that 16 days is bad. So you want to do it within the timeline. And then also, by the way, if you haven't had representation through the whole process, and now you're here at these stages and you're like, that's why you're looking at these videos, it's not too late to reach out and ask us questions about representation. So we can advise you on, kind of the most recent up-to-date knowledge. We're dealing with a lot of cases, so we get all the rumors and all the information, some of the first. And so if at that stage, right, now you've had your initial meeting with the ORM counselor, you've waited a while, you had the mediation session, now you're through the mediation session, you've filed the 4939, and now you're going formal. At that point, it's still a little more waiting. You hear from an investigator, and they send you over an affidavit to fill out. Not much different from that timeline that I mentioned earlier, and it's just more formal and official. So at that point, you fill out that affidavit. The agency gets a chance to read what you wrote. They respond to it, and then we get one more rebuttal chance. And that's the investigation phase. And after that point, things are fairly stable until it moves to, it gets assigned to a judge beyond that point. So that's an overarching view of the whole process. And check out the other videos if you're interested in any of those specific portions. Thank you much.